welcome to another episode of What Day Is It? We appreciate you guys chiming in per usual. Across the table from me, as always, we have the big, beautiful Fluffy. And today we have a guest on. This should be an exciting episode. We have my new buddy Jonah on. This guy right here, we became, strangers over TikTok. We started messaging back and forth a little bit, and turns out this man is infatuated with alpacas. Jonah, what's going on, man?
Not much. A pleasure to be here. Thank you guys for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
Absolutely. So, clearly, as the guest, What Day Is It? The everybody's favorite animal podcast. This episode is, it's about you. It's about alpacas. We're going to dive into, some of the fascinations of the camelids, the animal world, some frustrations and all that good stuff. But yeah, Fluffy.
And it's our first customer on the podcast.
I don't know if that counts. Okay, so Jonah did come visit the ranch. You drove all the way from Detroit, dude.
I did.
Like, that's incredible. And I appreciate you sticking around, and I appreciate you just hopping in with that other group too.
I appreciate
just made the day
being
a little
so
bit
cool
easier.
about the mess up. I came a
Dude,
day late. I was supposed to show up on Friday, and I thought I was supposed to show up on Saturday. So that was fun.
When you got here, I was just so confused. I was like, wait, what? Yeah, whatever. It ain't a big deal, man. Shit happens. But I appreciate you coming and checking the place out, and the sounds of it, you've been checking out a lot of places just to kind of see what, get some ideas, for your future and whatnot. So let's get into that, man. Tell us about your love for alpacas. How did it start? Where are you from? Let's just hear a little bit about you.
So I am from southeastern Michigan, born and raised. And so I actually got my snap memories about 3 weeks ago from my first trip to the alpaca barn, where I now board 10 out of my 12 alpacas. And I walked in one day with my girlfriend, and I had that moment. You guys on here call it the camel moment. I mean, that was the alpaca moment. I walked in and I fell in love with how goofy and how unique and how just awesome and gentle and amazing these creatures truly are. They're fascinating. And so there was a situation at the barn I was at, and I was able to take over the board for two of the alpacas. So my first two alpacas were free. All I had to do was cover the monthly board, which was really awesome.
Absolutely.
From there, it took me about 2 months to go to my first show. About a month after that, I bought my first alpaca. And then I'd say 6 months after that, I went down to North Carolina to buy two more. And then 2 weeks after that, I flew out to California to get a few more. And in my farm tours around Michigan here, I've acquired a couple more. And I went to the Michigan International Alpaca Show this year, and I ended up leaving with one. So a little bit of a problem, but I'm slowing down. And I will touch on that because educational podcast. I made several rookie mistakes. I bought too many boys. I probably shouldn't have bought as many as I did, but some of them were just so cheap.
You fell in love with them.
I know. You fell in love with them, and then you don't think you have a shot, and they give I bought one girl. I went to go tour a farm about an hour and 15 minutes from me, and I actually already purchased one from this farm. That was the one I left the show with. I bought him in hopes he would be a genetic anomaly, but turns out he's going to be like just all the rest. So that's a bit of a disappointment. My first disappointment in the animal purchasing world, but it happens. He was supposed to be a blue-eyed white, which is in the alpaca world. They're usually either deaf or blind, with the majority being deaf. It's due to a gene that
like cats.
both parents carry that then produces this out of an alpaca. And he at the
Mhm.
show he was a blue-eyed white. I mean, he still is, but he had his hearing. Sadly, I test him a couple times a week, and he's relying a lot more on herd cues and not being able to hear anything that's not shouted right at him. So that's sad.
Sure.
So I won't be able to breed him because obviously we don't breed when there's known genetic defects. That's a no-no, and I don't think that's ethical anyway.
For sure.
And so, but and then so I was touring that farm, and one of the female alpacas that they had, she had the greatest personality. She came up and she sat on my feet, and for 45 minutes I sat with her in the field and just hung out and talked to the owner and was just learning and asking questions. And my girlfriend joked, she goes, "Oh, guess we're leaving with this one." And I go, well, she will fit in the car because as weird as it sounds, alpaca people do transport them in the back of cars all the time. They fit. They're kind of the same size as a big dog. A lot of them. So
I've seen that. Yeah.
I actually transported one of my first animals in the back of my dad's Malibu because he takes their 145-pound Great Dane German Shepherd mix to Tim Hortons in the back seat every morning, and that's about double the weight of the alpaca I was moving. So I was like, it'll work.
Hey, whatever works.
Hey, I did one in the back of in one of the or in the U-Haul vans. Not the box trucks, but the actual vans, so I could still see them, and they had air conditioning. But yeah, I put some pads down, I put some hay down. They just laid down and rode the whole way.
Nice.
I think the only weird transport I can think of is we moved a petting zoo in the back of a U-Haul box truck.
Yep.
More than once.
Yeah, you did it too, Fluffy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we would lower the door like halfway down
Mhm.
and then put a fence in there so there was still wind and air and shit.
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody on the road got a kick out of that.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Other than that, I think everything's been pretty normal, crate or trailer. Fluffy back in the day saw lions get moved on flatbeds. That's kind of wicked.
That
With
is-
a temporary
that is-
cage built on it.
I
But the in the back of the car is hilarious.
oh yeah, we got a lot of people slow down for pictures because she was lay on the back seat, but she'd stick her head up to look at things out the window, and yeah, definitely we got people that would hit their brakes and be like, "What was that?" And you look over and everybody's on their phones. Yep.
Should have taken them to Starbucks for a pup cup.
I could have. That would have been fun. She did this particular alpaca we were transporting. That was her first outing and part of her halter training from the farm she came from. They went to the local bank with 3 or 4 of their new cria, and so that was getting them out and about and seeing how they do. So
Hell yeah.
she actually does well in public. I do know that, which is really nice.
Mhm. For those of you listening that don't know cria, that is what they call the baby alpacas.
Oh yes, my apologies. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. You never know who's listening. So you talk about chiming in and just meeting the alpacas for the first time, and they're goofy and they have these wonderful personalities. I mean, tell us a little more about that. Like, I guess, what is it about them? What do they do? How do they act? What do they do that you like so much about them?
They are they're just they are very naturally calming. So they're being herd animals and being domesticated 6,000 years ago purely for fleece production. They are one of the world's chillest animals. Now they're very skittish, but when you just sit out there and they're unbothered with their heads down chewing, it's just awesome. And then they're friendly and they're curious. You walk into a field and I mean their heads go up, but it's not because they're scared, because when they're scared, for those of you who don't know, alpacas will sound an alarm call, and it sounds pretty much like a dog's squeaky toy. It is very high pitched,
Pretty
it is
much.
very noticeable, and you can watch everybody's body language tense up, heads go up, ears go back, everybody's on alert. and it's just a different body language when you walk out and they start getting curious. And like my favorite videos I show people is I'll walk up with my phone and I'll record them, and almost every single one will boop the camera, but what they're doing is they're sniffing it and they're being curious about what I have. Um, and so I really like that about them. And I like just the different personality traits that you notice fairly quickly. Some of them are surprisingly good at holding grudges. And like we have one that she holds grudges and she won't get you back for like 2 weeks, but then you won't be paying attention. You'll be taking a tour, you'll walk by and she'll kick you right in the calf.
Yeah.
And we've got one, her name is Reba. And when we've taken people out, and so we have 52 alpacas now on the farm with the this week's edition. We did have three cria born this week. Sadly, one did not make it. It was a incredibly difficult birth. Our vet was one step away from doing a C-section, and the baby came out fairly premature. Well, I guess not premature.
Sure.
Date-wise, it was in the target range of 345 to 365, which is the ideal range for a alpaca to for the alpaca gestation period. But it was very underweight and underdeveloped, and it didn't end up making it, which is it is sad. But alpacas are one of the more fragile livestock babies born, due to the fact that they are not born with any form of immune system whatsoever. So if there's any issue at all getting their colostrum in, which is the um, milk that a mother produces in the first 24 hours, that's going to contain all the immunoglobulins and everything that a baby needs to develop a healthy immune system. If there's any issue whatsoever getting it in there within the first 24 hours, ideally the first 12, the odds of that baby surviving are almost none. And
Sure.
because that baby had such a difficult birth, it had a kinked neck, so it wasn't able to nurse. And so it was sad. I mean, we did try to bottle feed replacement colostrum, but again, like I said, you don't know if everything was intact on the inside, so she could absorb it properly. And being underdeveloped, you just don't know on things like that. And sadly, it actually added to a bit of a rough birthing season for us, if I get to complain for a little bit. Um, we had we have 8 of them due. Our latest one is due in December. Um, but we had 2 losses. 2 of them slipped their pregnancy. We had the one lost cria, and then so out of the 4 that we still have standing, 2 of the 4 of them were bottle babies because mom decided to be an absolute bitch. The one was born 2 nights ago, and mom still has not let her nurse. We like
Sure.
we in order to get mom to, like, I don't say let, in order for her to nurse on mom, we have to halter mom, tie her to the stall, and then one of us stands back with our feet in between her legs, and the other one's holding the baby in. And so that way we keep her from kicking and trying, but it's a 2-person job just to get this little girl nursing. And so it's like, oh, it's frustrating.
It sounds like it, but you got to do what you got to
You
do,
do,
right?
you do, and the nice thing about being a female bottle baby, we got lucky in that regards. We have had 3 of them were girls, and we've only had 1 boy so far. So in the alpaca breeding world, having females is absolutely what you want. For those of you who don't know, um,
Mm-hmm.
we're all always rooting for girls. Well, just, I mean, that's the obvious reasons. When you're breeding, they then are capable of breeding more, which is good for you. And typically,
Mm-hmm.
the herd sires, which is the predominant males whose the genetics you're going after, usually those are so well chosen that most of the boys you have, you end up selling off. You keep I would say 2 out of every 10 male cria that you have, whereas you're probably going to retain, I would say, 6 to 7 out of every of the female cria that you have.
Sure.
That's just kind of
That's quite the
what I've
difference.
observed and talked to people and come across. By no means, I should have started with this. By no means should anybody consider me an alpaca expert. I am just a guy who happened to fall in love with an animal, and I have a ton to learn. I learn every single day, all of the time.
Hey, we're all just dudes with a passion, man. I'd never consider myself an expert of nothing.
Yep.
Just I'm a man of stuff.
Yep.
Expert of none, jack of all.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Something like that. Except I'm not a jack of mechanic. I don't want to do
No,
that.
just animals.
So what kind of alpacas do you have at the barn primarily? What species?
So for those of you who don't know, there are 2 species of alpaca. There is the Surrey and there is the Wakaya. At our barn, we have exclusively Wakaya, which is fairly normal. Last time I saw, and again, don't quote me, I've learned a lot in the last year or so. Sometimes I mix up numbers, but it's something like 85 or 90% of the world's alpaca population is Wakaya. Their fleece you can harvest every year. It grows a lot quicker than the Surrey does, and you can do. I'm not an expert in the fiber side of the business as much as I should be. But it seems like you can do more with the Wakaya fleece, and it's easier to process than the Surrey. That's just I'm.
Oh, the Surrey looks damn near like dreadlocks. I'd
They
imagine
are,
it would
and
be a little bit more of
they
a pain.
grow a lot slower than a Wakaya's fleece will. A Surrey. So I was actually listening to the podcast you guys put out yesterday or the day before while I was working today, and you mentioned PETA getting mad about the shearing of animals, and we said that at the barn the shearing used to be public, but then this group of 5 or 6 people came in and they spent all day in there. They ate the donuts we provided. They drank the Gatorade and whatever else we had out, and then at the end of the day they left. Didn't say anything, nothing. But then they submitted a article to the local paper about how horrible we are and how we're torturing the animals and how it's inhumane and we're just the worst people in the world. How could you allow this to be part of your community?
Well, they should see what happens when you don't shear them.
Right.
Exactly. And that's
like, do you want them to overheat and get nasty?
That's what I tell everybody. And a lot of people don't realize with alpacas, it happens a lot quicker than it happens with other animals like sheep or goats. Because you hear the stories of a sheep getting lost and being found 3 or 4 years later with 120 pounds of wool on it, due to how well alpaca fleece insulates. They would most likely be dead within I would say 6 to 12 months, depending on your climate, of not being sheared. They won't last 3 years like a sheep will.
Right.
Because their natural body temperature sits at just over 101 degrees, and then you add one of the world's best natural insulators on top of that, it gets really hot really quick.
Oh, I believe that. So, for somebody that claims not to be an expert, you do know a lot about this shit. So the fleece world is something that's new to you. Is there anybody else at your barn that does a bit of it, or do you guys just kind of, toss a lot of it?
So we do not toss any of it, actually.
Okay.
Even what most farms would be consider the garbage, I actually kept that this year. I haven't had time due to the fact that, well, I spent way more money on alpacas, so now I'm working my ass off to pay for all of them. But We didn't throw away any of it this year. It's broken up into categories. So when you shear an alpaca, you have the blanket, which goes. If you picture an alpaca, it's four legs, kind of an elongated torso, and a nice long neck. So around that torso, and into the shoulders, and just a little bit into the neck, is considered the blanket, and that is going to be the best fleece that is produced. I mean, that surrounds all the vital organs. That's where it's going to be the densest. And so your blanket has your highest quality, and that's called your first. And then after that, you shave the neck and the legs, and that is called your seconds. And so people usually will process all of their firsts and all of their seconds. Your firsts, you're going to turn into those nice expensive items that everybody sees when they picture, oh, I bought something alpaca, oh, that's the $200 sweaters that everybody, talks about.
Or the
Those are going to be made out of your
$50
first, your sweaters, your hoodies.
the $50 pair of underwear too.
Yeah. Well, actually, so your
Oh,
$50 pair of underwear is most likely made out of seconds. So a lot of your hats, your
Oh,
socks, your gloves, going to be your underwear, anything where you're going to have more of a mix of the type of wool that's in there is usually going to be seconds. And then you have what is
correct.
called thirds, and that a lot of people throw away and some people don't. This year we did not, because I'm trying to eventually I will get a pellet press and press it into pellets, and resell it as fertilizer, because of how fine alpaca fiber is. It is a natural insecticide in your
No
soil, and
shit.
it also helps to retain moisture as well, because it's so fine that the bugs can't eat through it because they can't digest it. So
huh.
you
The
pair that as the insecticide, and to add the moisture, and then you fertilize with the alpaca poop, which is really high in nitrogen and comes out a naturally great fertilizer. You end up being able to open a market hopefully I will be able to open a market into, more of the hydroponics and, gardening, and just
mhm.
kind of expand the income that you can produce on a farm with what most people would consider waste, and in what some cases is quite literally shit.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. I did not know that about the fur, and I sure never knew about pressing it into pellets.
Or
That's
the insecticide. That's genius.
that's wild. What off the top of your noggin, what does a press like that go for?
Um, you can get it depending on the scale at which you go with, because obviously you can get large, big hopper, motor industrial size ones, but they go for a few $100 all the way up to, I've seen, decent used ones for 4 to 6. But then again, I've
Interesting.
seen some that are a couple grand. So, obviously I'd start small, and it's
Mhm.
more just once you do it, then I gotta have time to keep doing it, and then I gotta get the packaging, and then
Yeah, it's definitely it's going to turn into a job for you for
well,
sure.
Another one.
exactly. It's one of those things I plan to, if I have time while I'm still working my what people in the farm world call my town job, so my W-2 income. Then I will, but odds are it'll most likely happen after I'm able to transition from doing concrete work every day.
Sure, absolutely. I guess it really wouldn't even be worth me having anything like that when I only have my two alpacas. I don't like wasting the fur, I just when we get it sheared off, I keep it here in bags,
Yeah.
and as people come through on tours and they for whatever reason people ask me what I do with it all the time.
Hmm.
And every blue moon, I get someone that's like, hey, I spin and I try to do this, but I've never done alpaca. And I'm like, hey, you want some? It's, I'll give it to you. Just, you can try it, see if you like it. If it works out, come get some more. Like, I would rather somebody experiment with it than it go to complete waste, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
Or
So it's
somebody
If
do that with a
you
camel.
mhm,
if you wanted something very simple that a lot of people in your situation, because a lot of people um, who own alpacas are, I mean, I not all right, not in your situation. In your situation, as have 2 or 3 or 4 alpacas, but a lot of
sure.
people, alpacas are an incredibly common homesteading animal. They're very cheap to care for. They provide a sustainable resource that is actually quite profitable. I mean, finished alpaca yarn can go, up to like $10 an ounce. And I mean, if you've got,
Ooh.
you're getting anywhere from, I'd say, 3 to 7 pounds of fleece per alpaca. I mean,
Wow.
I've seen farms out there where they specialize in fleece weight, and they get some of theirs that can consistently produce 8 to 10 pounds of fleece every year.
That's a lot, dude.
Wow.
It is.
Well, we get a little bit of return on that for damn sure.
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
what I was getting into for what you could do is, if it's just sitting there, if you find a local fiber mill not too far from
Mhm.
you, go drop it off and get it spun. That way, when those people ask, hey, do you have anything, you can show them, the yarn you do have, and it's usually a pretty quick, easy sale. Um,
Hmm.
and people who like spinning with alpaca, they like it for a reason. I mean, it is considered one of the best natural fibers in the world. It is. I don't spin, I don't knit, I do not crochet, although I am trying to learn. um it's a very slow process. It's so frustrating. um
Oh yeah.
and everybody says it's great to work with. People absolutely love it. It's just the sentence that always follows is, it's so expensive. So, and again,
I've been
it's partly
mhm.
expensive. That's one of the kind of a beef I have a little bit with the alpaca industry. Is it's Yes, it is expensive, but seeing the backside of it, we could very much so come down on our prices and make it more affordable to a lot more people and expand our customer base. But there's a lot of old heads in the industry um, that have the attitude of, we're not Walmart, we don't sell cheap knockoff shit, where they
Mhm.
want to keep it high end. They want to, cater to just that. And it's like, I'm not saying we need to be Walmart. I'm just saying we don't have to charge $35 for a pair of socks when it costs you $12.75 a pair to buy it. Because
Well,
you're
what
buying it sale and marking it up anywhere from 2 to 2.5 times, and you're like, I get
right.
it. We need to make money. We're small businesses, but at the same point, you could do just a little bit more volume and increase the customer base exponentially.
Oh yeah.
Mhm. Absolutely. I guess come to think of it, man, I've never seen I guess what I would consider a cheap alpaca product. I remember I was in Colorado years ago and I went to a mall out there and they had a seasonal alpaca store and they were selling real alpaca fiber plushies.
Hmm.
And I mean some of the larger size plushies were 150 bucks and this was,
Jesus.
6 7 years ago.
Yeah,
I
and
bought one of the small ones, but
well, yeah, and I mean, so actually, in the alpaca industry, our industry has gone down. So when alpacas first came to the U.S. In the early to mid '80s, they were obviously super expensive. We only had a few thousand here in the U.S., which
mhm.
started our national herd. And for those who don't know, one of the unique things, and one of the reasons I like the alpaca industry, to go back to your original question forever ago, um, is we have a focus on not necessarily beating each other, or always being better and like hating the other guy, like super common in the animal world, especially when you do show
Yep.
animals like alpacas. Um, they have their focus and like the main or like the best achievement for an alpaca breeder. Yes, we have national championships that everybody wants, but our main goal is to impact what's called that national herd. So just the overall number of alpacas here in the US. We have a focus on constantly trying to improve that genetic base and trying to always make better alpacas. And so like that's kind of one of the things I like is like the absolute peak that you can do is be recognized for impacting having your animals have an impact on the genetics of the national herd. And so it's kind of, yeah, we compete, but it's kind of a group effort. And I grew up, my uncle had a horse farm or a cow farm down in Tennessee. Sorry, I was looking at horse farms with my girlfriend this weekend. And so he herd bulls and beef cattle down there, and my cousins showed, and their cousins on my mom's side showed animals in the 4-H and stuff as well. And so I was familiar, and when I got in, I expected the alpaca industry, especially at the shows, to be the same, cutthroat, just vicious, hoping you miss your spot, your animals are sick, whatever. But it's the complete opposite. They have been some of the nicest people I have ever come across. I cannot say enough nice things about the people in the alpaca industry that I've come across. I mean, like for example, I went before I even owned any more than the two free ones that I had. I went to the largest alpaca farm in Michigan, and I mean, these people are super well off. You know, they got into alpacas about 15 years ago. I mean, you go and it's one of those farms where they got money.
Yeah.
But I mean, they treated us just like everybody else. I ended up buying an alpaca from them as my girlfriend's Christmas slash birthday present. And I mean, we got a great deal on it. They gave us an amazing contract. I mean, they're letting us. It was one of our first ones we bought, and I mean, they gave us a 24-month interest-free contract with free board for the entire length of the contract, and they were taking care of all of the medical, all of the feed, all of it. I mean,
Wow.
she got a bit of a foot rash while she was there. They took care of it, no questions asked. Never saw a bill. They had they had some worms that were going around. I mean, they gave her round of shots. No problem. They had a little bit of pink eye. She didn't get it, but they treated her anyway. Again, never saw a bill for any of it. I mean, I can text them or call them or ask them anything. And, there's not a person I've run into that hasn't given me their number and said, "Hey, you got any questions, call me." Um,
Mm-hmm.
and it was such a shock. And I think that was part of the reason I dove in so fast when I did is just, it was something that, it felt like a calling.
Absolutely. It sounds like a lot of these people are really proud of their animals, and that's what you like to see.
It is. It is. And I
You.
mean, even one of the lady I bought from, her name is Darcy, Rare Gem
Mm-hmm.
Alpacas. If you're ever bored and you want to see some cool patterned alpacas, she is one of the best Appaloosa alpaca breeders in the nation. And that little side note, when you breed alpacas, when you're getting into it, it's kind of like getting into the medical field or the law field. You pick a very niche category that you want to focus on and you hammer it. So like people will pick a specific color they want to breed, and alpacas come in 22 different colors. Um, and so they'll pick a specific color, but then inside that color, they will pick individual traits about that fleece. Like I mentioned, the one farm that focuses on fleece weight, and that's how they get it. So they get their own animals to produce so much that is all they're focusing on is going to be that fleece weight, which is going to correlate with the density of that
Mm-hmm.
fiber. So they take traits like that and they will hammer it down, and they'll be, one person they'll focus on crimp style, one person will focus on staple length, one person will focus on uniformity. It's kind of fun, and so I'm focusing on right now. It's a little broad, just the Appaloosas. And the reason I'm not picking like a specific fiber trait is the Appaloosas have been the redheaded stepchild for a while, because it is a fiber industry and everybody is so focused on those end products. When you blend Appaloosa fleece, you do not get a uniform color. So most of the major manufacturers of alpaca products will not use it, just
Sure.
because you
That
can't
makes
make
sense.
uniform products out of it like you can a black or a brown or a white. However, people's fascination with them has gone up, and they did the same thing to the grays a decade ago, and now I mean gray alpacas are now competing on the same level as everybody else. And so once
Mhm.
we get the Appaloosas to that level, then we'll be able to narrow down and focus more on some of those specific fleece traits. But for now, that's again part of the reason I picked Appaloosa alpacas is I like that growth potential. I like the ability to take what people didn't really want and turn it into something pretty desirable and awesome.
So, just for shits and giggles here, you said there's 22 colors. How many can you name off the top of your head?
Oh, I can name all of them.
Let's
Oh,
go.
okay.
I should be able to name all of them. So you have white, then you have dark brown, brown, and medium brown, and then you're gonna have fawn, light fawn, and dark fawn. You have black and bay black. Um, let's see, you're gonna have. Oh wow, I'm only at 9.
We're counting too.
That's why I said for shits and giggles. I don't care how
Yeah, I thought.
much you
See,
know about something.
hey,
Sometimes being put on a spot sucks.
I know. Let's see. What am I missing? Um, we did fawns, we did browns, we did whites. Oh, huh. I missed all the grays. So you've got gray, light gray, dark gray. You've got light silver gray. You've got rose gray. You've got a light rose gray. You've got a dark rose gray. I knew I was missing a big ass category, and like I said, put it on the spot, you just blank.
That's
Um,
the fun of it.
let's see. What am I at?
We're at
Like
19.
19, so I'm missing 3. Oh, let's. Oh,
Maybe I can't count, but
I'm
no,
at
no, you're right.
16. I
I
don't know how
know.
you, how you got 19.
Yeah, you're definitely right at 19.
I don't know.
Oh man, I'd have to Google. Find the last 3. I thought I could do it.
Shit.
You see, there you go. Those questions you don't get asked. You're the first person to ask me to name all 22.
Hey,
I
that's
can
the
name
fun
all.
part of it, man.
I can name all 9 patterns they come in.
All right, let's go.
All right, so they come in. Obviously, they're going to come in solid. Then they're going to come in, and I'll kind of break these down a little bit for people. They're going to come in They'll come in what's called a classic Appaloosa. So that is going to be a light base color with darker spots, and then they have reverse Appaloosas, so that's going to be a dark base coat, like a black or a dark brown with lighter colored spots. And then you have your roans. I'm not 100% sure what classifies it as a roan. There's a couple different like viewpoints on it, and it still kind of confuses me basically because they don't interest me and I haven't gotten around to studying them yet. But I know they exist.
Valid.
So you have roans, and then you're going to have harlequin, and then you have so harlequin they're kind of cool. So they change color. Their fleece starts as a dark, and then it grows to be a lighter. So like I bought
Hmm.
for the next pattern, they come in an Appaloosa harlequin, which is a spotted one that also has the color changing hair. And I always point him out to people by telling them he's the one with the blonde tips, because once you shave it off, it's never going to be that light again, but it still will change color from, starting right near the body outward. But when they're first born, he changed from dark, like a charcoaly gray, all the way out to bleach blonde. So he looks like he's part of the Backstreet Boys. And
Oh,
then we had, what was that?
Six?
And then you have
6 or 7.
We're gonna
7.
get to Pinto, which is they're kind of just like a two-toned. They'll usually have black and white, or white and brown are usually the two common Pinto combinations. And then you're going to have a spotted Pinto, which is different than a Appaloosa, because it will still be light with spots, but there's certain markings on it that classify it as a spotted Pinto, which is important when breeding, because genetically speaking, the the Pinto gene and the Appaloosa gene, they compete phenotypically. So they compete for the appearance of the alpaca. You're only going to get one or the other. So if you buy a spotted Pinto thinking you're buying an Appaloosa, you're actually decreasing your odds of getting a Appaloosa alpaca as a offspring, instead of increasing them like you think you are. And then the last one is going to be tuxedo, and they're tuxedos. Those guys, depending on the tuxedo, how bold the pattern is, those guys can actually go for a decent amount of money, because people use them in weddings, especially down south, all of the time. They'll stand, and one of the places I know offers a package, and you get a white flower girl alpaca, you get a ring bearer who is a baby tuxedo, and then you get a groomsman and a bridesmaid, and they'll try to match the bridesmaid color with the alpaca, and then the groomsman is always just one of the tuxedo boys.
That's really fun,
funny.
actually. I would totally do that for my wedding.
Yeah,
If
that
only-
and camels.
I wish they had tuxedo camels. What the fuck?
I know.
We got gypped.
You did.
We can
You
make
got,
them.
you got what,
We can
brown
paint
and
'em.
white?
Brown, white, black, gray. I mean, the gray's not prominent and the black isn't prominent, but every blue moon you see a pretty dark boy.
Speaking
Usually
of learning, I did not
overseas.
know they had black camels. That's so sick. I want a black camel now.
It's not like jet black.
No.
It's you can Google it. They
More
get pretty
common
dark.
overseas, though.
Yeah, we very rarely see them here. Our gene pool is so dog shit here. So
We get brown and brown and brown.
Same.
yeah, light brown, brown, dark brown. Yeah.
Yeah, we have the same issue in the alpaca world. And actually, speaking, I mentioned this when I came and saw you, but the love of three-letter organizations on this podcast. We have, for those who are unaware, most livestock, they end up having what is a governing organization. Whether it's the Beef Masters Association or the Angus Association. For alpacas, we have the Alpaca Owners Association, so the AOA. And after they started
AOA.
importing alpacas here to the U.S., due to the high prices they were paying, they realized in all their wondrous glory that if they just cut off the importation, then their alpacas will remain a super high price, which is really good until you absolutely destroy your genetic diversity.
Which they don't care. They
and
made their
so
money. See ya.
They didn't. Exactly. They did. So they didn't end up actually lobbying the U.S. government, which is really good. They kept it in-house, the little bastards. And what they did is they made it so you could not register a alpaca with the AOA if it was imported. And so what that did was it got
Oh.
rid of the value of your animal, because you cannot register an alpaca unless both parents are registered in the AOA. You can't show an alpaca if it's not registered. So if you can't sell its offspring and you can't show it, there goes the value of your alpaca. So they kept their gene pool, and their high price, and it fell anyway, because when they started importing alpacas, I mean, your high-end alpacas went for anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000, and
Holy.
people were, given $20,000, $30,000 checks for unborn cria, no problem. Like even at the barn I was at, it's only been around since 2000, but I think it was '04. Rich says. So Rich is the guy who owns the barn. Shout out to Gibraltar Bay Alpacas in Grosio, Michigan. They're awesome. Open to the public. If you're in the area, come check us out. And we don't do appointments, no reservations. You walk in and there's no charge. It's just you come in and we'll show you around, and hopefully you buy something from the gift shop or leave us a donation. But Rich said, yeah, it was like '06 or '07 maybe. And a guy walks in one day, and he was in town with one of his buddies, and he walks in and he goes, so what's the most expensive alpaca in here? And the owner at the time, Dr. Knapp, he goes, that one right there, it's about 35 grand. And he goes, okay. Guy went back out to his car, walked back in with a $35,000 check and bought the female alpaca.
Oh my.
And Dr. Knapp goes, well, what do you want to do? And I'm quoting, the man's response was, well, breed the bitch.
Okay.
And
A valid, I guess.
And then the guy left.
That's so crazy, dude.
Those days are over. I mean, the alpaca I bought at the show, who I bought was hoping to be the genetic anomaly, and the super friendly when I went to go visit that farm, I mean, they cost me $1,000 a piece. And had I not wanted to, now, all right, genetic experimentation sounds bad, but it needs to be understood in the alpaca world, because they've only been around for 40 years here in the US, we don't have as much scientific study into these guys as cows and horses and other much larger, more influential livestock animals.
Sure.
And so the gene that we say causes the blue-eyed whites is what's called the white spot gene. However, there are no actual scientific studies to back it up. It is all rancher observation. Which again, don't get me wrong, I'm not discrediting it. That's how most of the old heads learned. That's how the vast majority of this business is done. And it absolutely has its place. But when I say genetic experimentation, I was just curious whether, if he was a blue-eyed white and carried that gene, if you bred him to an alpaca that doesn't carry that gene, a completely all black one, if they would pass on any of the genetic defects. Because if he didn't have any, I was curious whether, it was somebody who is considered homozygous for that gene is a non-breeder entirely. That was my goal of what I wanted to find out with him. And had I not wanted to, she would have given him to me as a non-breeder for $500.
Shit. Hell yeah. Either way, but that's super interesting. And yeah, you good? We can hear us? Hello?
Hello.
Did we lose you?
Yeah.
There he is.
There you are. That's really interesting, man.
Where'd you lose me at?
We just got done talking about the genetic breeding. So it's really interesting. What do you think the outcome's going to be personally?
Personally, I think it would be just fine. I think
Mm-hmm.
he would be able to breed, no problem without passing along those genetic defects if he doesn't show any. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Sadly, again, like I said, I won't get to find out because it very much so looks like he's losing his hearing.
Sure.
But I think he'd be just fine, and it's kind of disappointing because one of the anomalies of the blue-eyed white alpacas is generally they actually have on average finer fleece than the other alpacas, which is a desirable trait. The finer the fleece,
Hmm.
the softer it is. Obviously, the better it's going to feel when you turn it into something to wear. And
Right.
so, it was one of those things I was just curious about. But again, that's was another one of the draws to the alpaca industry for me, is a bit of those unknowns. In this modern world, I can still kind of go exploring and experimenting and trying to find new things that, we don't know yet.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's really interesting that they've only been here for that amount of time. Like that actually blows my mind.
I did not know that.
And they're young.
Yeah.
They're
So
young,
again,
and the value has decreased so quickly.
Right.
Like
it,
what
it
in the
did.
hell? We went from
It Yeah, it decreased dramatically, and part of that was their own fault because so obviously everybody only wanted to breed to the super expensive alpacas, right? And so,
Mhm.
well, then the babies you have that aren't deemed excellent and your money makers, you sold off as pets, and then everybody started breeding those pets, and we increased the national herd size. We don't have an accurate count, which really bothers me, but it's somewhere between 400 to 600,000, depending on who you ask.
Jeez.
Wow, I didn't know that many.
That's a
Yeah.
lot.
Well,
No
and again,
wonder.
we have beef with the AOA. Part of the reason we don't have an accurate number is because there's over 400,000 registered alpacas with the AOA, but nobody goes through and sifts through the dead ones. They're all still actively registered.
Ah,
There's no separation between alive and deceased. So when it's like, yay, we have 420,000 registered alpacas, okay, how many of them are dead?
Oh.
they're claiming insurance fraud.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
like I mean, it's like what are we doing here? And then the other reason we don't have an accurate count is the homesteaders and everybody who bought them as pets is there's an estimated 75 to 200,000 alpacas out there that are unregistered, undocumented, just out there living the good life.
hmm That's wild. I definitely wish I could see counts of some of these species here in the States, man. It definitely be interesting to know how many of a lot of these things there are
Well,
left.
and I
Um,
like you guys were talking about with the elephants on that last podcast. In some cases, it's in super important information for us to know for conservation standpoint because you're right. Our kids and definitely our grandkids have the possibility of not ever actually seeing an elephant up close.
which is sad as fuck.
Like they're only
Super,
ever going
super
to see
sad.
elephants in movies. You'll have kids that are going to
hmm
grow up not knowing those are truly real creatures.
Yeah,
Right.
they're gonna be cryptids to our children.
Yeah.
Exactly, because they've never
And
seen a real life elephant. It's just always
and
pictures
PETA's
or on TV. Yeah.
PETA's gonna love that shit
Oh yeah,
too.
that's a
Oh,
wet dream to him.
Yeah,
those guys are the worst. You guys,
fucking
I'm glad
people.
you guys talked about their absolutely horrible posts with Ryan Easley from Growler Pines, because I looked it up too when it came out, and from what I found nothing bad about it, and I actually found more things about him, helping rescue cats, and yeah, he went out and he used cats to make money. Okay, he's a horrible person because he used animals to make money and educate people. But I mean, like you guys were saying, I didn't find anything bad. And the posts I was seeing from PETA, and the worst part, what pissed me off the most, is I saw 4 or 5 of those PETA posts, but they were all retweeted by random ass people. And I was
Oh,
like,
I'm sure.
and I'm like, it's just spreading this absolutely asinine information, just destroying a man's character and reputation, and he has no way to defend himself.
The people are the real sheep.
Oh
They
yeah.
really are.
Yeah,
And that's why it pisses me off the most, because then at the very bottom of the post it'll say from PETA. It's set
mm-hmm.
up to
Yep.
make you read this whole post thinking it's this person's opinion, and at the very bottom it says from PETA.
PETA's a little bit different because they're a 4-letter organization,
Yeah.
Yeah,
but we don't
they
like
get their
them
own
either.
special classification, like with the USDA they get their own level of hate.
Yeah, we got the USDA, they're 4, PETA's 4, and then the fucking ZAA, the AZA, like the
All the
AOA.
alphabet bastards, man.
For real, like
Yeah.
the people that govern us, man, the DNR, these motherfuckers.
Oh, I know. Those people are
So
the
let's kick it back.
absurd amount of power they have.
Too much. Well, they don't do good enough job with the power that they have.
Right.
Exactly.
You
Like they
know,
have an
they
asinine
let
amount
shit
of
go.
power and they use it for the dumbest shit possible.
Oh, let's kick it back to the beginning here. When you were talking about you were gonna bring up some beginner problems that you had.
Okay. Yep. So one of the beginner problems I had is one, I mentioned buying too many males, which part of the issue with buying that is, well, you make money selling the fleece and selling the babies. And while selling the fleece and the products from it is nice, it's considerably more money to sell the babies. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and for a program like myself that's just starting out, chasing the genetics in the males wasn't the best option, because I could have gotten those genetics by paying a stud fee and buying a female off of their farm, or even buying a female that came with a breeding or was already pregnant to a male with the genetics I wanted, instead of buying the males and trying to own the genetics. Um,
True.
because obviously, when you have 22 colors and 9 different patterns and a very limited scientific knowledge of how alpaca DNA and how the colors and the patterns actually work, it's kind of a bit of a crapshoot about what you're going to get. So if I'm breeding for Appaloosa alpacas, odds are it'll be, if I'm lucky, it'll be 3 or 4 out of every 10 I have will actually be Appaloosas. And the rest, some you will keep because they have excellent characteristics that you would like to breed into your Appaloosas to try to what we call breed up. So create better alpacas. But then the ones that don't fit into your breeding program, those are the ones you sell. And that's where you make your money from. But having all boys, I don't have any to sell. Well, I don't have all boys. I
Mm-hmm.
have 5, 6, 7. I have 7 boys and 5
Mm-hmm.
girls. One of which I did buy pregnant, so I did check that box. I did get one, but that was the moment I kind of realized my mistake. That's where I learned my lesson. Was I was like, oh, I should have been focusing on what they call the 3-for-1 packages, which is a pregnant female with the cria at side. So you get 3
Mm-hmm.
alpacas. Um, Plus, you can again chase the genetics you want from that pregnancy. If it's again with a male you're looking for. And it's a significantly less than buying individual ones. Like, um, the 3-for-1 package for the females I bought, I got them for. Now she gave me a discount because I bought 4 alpacas from the same place. But I paid 7,500 for them, and I mean
Woo.
one of my males I paid 8 grand for.
Oh.
Oh
Whew.
man.
You love alpacas.
Ooh.
And
Does
so that that kind of helps highlight my mistake. There is, it's going to be years before that male can start making me money, unless I take him to farmers markets or I take him out into the public
Mhm.
that way. But it'll be years before he starts making me breeding income. Whereas the pregnant female I bought, she showed up in May, she's going to deliver in December. And I mean, if that baby doesn't fit my breeding program, I can sell it, within weeks of
Mhm.
it being born. And then once she's weaned at 6 to 7 months, or the baby is weaned at 6 to 7 months, off it'll go. Um, So it's,
Do
a
all
return
your
on investment within a year instead of 3 to 5.
Yeah.
do all your males get along?
They do. So I was lucky in that aspect. And the reason I have such a longer return on investment for those males is I bought all younger males. Like you said, you like to buy older male camels that are, almost working age or past working
Mhm.
age. So they're just, they're ready to go. You can train them, you can get them going.
Yep.
You don't have to, have them waiting around. Uh, And so
Yeah, I
buying the younger
definitely.
ones, you get them cheaper. So I do have some really really nice genetics. I mean, that part I did well on. It'll be a while before I get to see it in action. Um and then
Mhm.
the other big mistake, or biggest mistake I should say I made, was all of the underlying expenses I didn't see coming. Um, when you
Like what?
when you tran so like I knew I had to pay for transportation, right?
Mhm.
Um, and so that wasn't a huge shock. I knew nothing about livestock transportation, so I don't know what it goes for. You guys would actually know pretty well, but I paid $400 an animal, and they came. I had four come from the San Diego region. They went across the U.S. and stopped in North Carolina. Then they came up here to Detroit, and so that was $400 an animal, which I don't know exactly what I was expecting, but I mean I knew that would be a decent cost. But then you have the CVI. So for those of you who don't know, the CVI is the Certified Vet Examination or
Mhm.
inspection.
A certificate of
Sorry, had to get
veterinarian
the right letter.
inspection. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And so
all
you
know
have
about those all too well.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So anybody in the animal world knows about those. I got to learn. That's when your vet has to come out and certify that they're safe to travel across state lines. So you needed all of those, and then so like I expected that, but like don't charge the same. There is no standard rate. So like the
Yeah.
vet that the farm in North Carolina used charged double what the vet in California charged.
Woo.
Ugh.
That's
And
ass.
That's
then
usually opposite.
yeah.
Yeah, I definitely know about those all too well. Pulled one too many CVIs. And now that you mention it, I don't really know what the going rate of transport is because I've always just moved my own animals. What I do know is that when people ask me to transport shit, usually I quote it very high because I don't want to.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I fucking hate driving.
See, I
I'm
love it.
so
I
over that
it
part.
I do it
it-
I do it all of the time. Way too much.
Apparently, you drove 6 hours to come visit.
Yeah, again, driving's
this
no problem. I drove, let's say I've worked 10 and a half hours so far today, and most of it's been
ugh.
driving around, transporting shit from one spot to the other. And after we're
At
done
least you,
here, I've got to go make a 45-minute drive one way to go drop a trailer off.
at least you got a nice truck to drive around in.
I do. It is. It is. Although she needs some maintenance right now, and I am being lazy because, well, I am so stupid when it comes to anything with an engine or a microchip. I got nothing. I
Me
can
too.
fix I can fix almost anything else. You give me a broken barn, you tell me to build a table, a cabinet, let's go. I'll pour cement all day long. I can rewire, plumb, not an issue. Don't ask me to do anything mechanical or computer related.
So, have you gotten beat up by an alpaca yet?
Oh yes, I we oh yeah, I've got a couple war stories already. Again, being that, so your average alpaca is going to weigh about 135 pounds, and they're going to range from about 100 and 110 to about 230. And they're only going to stand, at most 6, maybe 6'2" at the head for your very biggest ones. So they're not the most enormous animal in the world, but they are incredibly lean and almost all muscle. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and the thing is, they're quick and they're agile. I mean, they run like 25 or 30 miles an hour, and they can stop on a dime. So yeah, they got me with some pretty good kicks. I'd say the worst one was it was herd health day, and so I was trying to wrangle a couple alpacas, and the one I was going after tried to run through a door, and I thought I could catch it. And so, you know, it's almost kind of like catching a kangaroo from what you guys have described. You guys just grab onto the tail and hold on. Alpacas, you just
Yeah.
kind of grab onto the neck and hold on. Um, and for most people, their necks are incredibly durable. It's almost all muscle. You do not hurt the animal when you do this. They fight with
Mm-hmm.
their necks like giraffes. I believe they use their heads as weapons. That's one of the other good ones they get. They will swing that head in a full 360 and just smack you with it.
Yeah.
Um, but no, she was running through the gate, and I got a hand around her neck, and I thought I had her. I planted my foot. Turns out I planted my foot in a pile of shit. And I completely spun around. She drags me through the door, which shortest door in the barn. So I smack, because you have to duck to go through it. I smack my head on the 2x4 that's going across the top. Um, yeah, I smacked
Mm.
my head going on the top. I tripped and hit my knee on the manger that was near the wall as I was falling. Yeah, it was a pretty good one. Had a
Ooh-wee.
nice
So you lost.
I didn't have to go get my head put back together, but she did cause my head to bleed. So
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you might have lost the battle, but you can win the war.
I did. I eventually ended up getting the shots, and that one was a fight all the way through, because part of herd dynamics in alpacas is their males have a clear hierarchy. So there is clearly an alpha, there's clearly a pecking order.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very dominant, oriented over there. They're always fighting. They go after each other a lot. The females not so much. The only
Sure.
time they really ever fight is like female women is when they get annoyed with each other, and they'll start getting catty, and they'll start spitting and hollering, and you know. Um,
Sounds about right.
but in the females, they have a matriarch, and she isn't the dominant, she is the protector. And so when a new baby is born, whether it's her or not, if you go out into the field, you need to know where she's at, because if you pick up the baby, she's coming for you. And like I said,
Sure.
our old matriarch, she's still the matriarch, but she's getting old, and she had a case of meningeal worm. So that's for those of you who don't know, it's a parasite that attacks the nervous system, and if you don't get it quick enough, it'll paralyze them, and then it just eats the brain. It's nasty. It's an absolutely horrible way to go. Um, and so
Mm.
that
Yeah,
took her down a
absolutely.
little bit, but she did survive, and because we caught that one quick enough. But no, she'll still go after you. And I mean, she stands 6 foot, and back when she was full grown, she was 160 pounds and could run 30 miles an hour. That is no small animal coming at you across the field with intent to do harm.
Dude, I don't think I've ever once, not that I've seen a lot of them, I don't think I've ever once seen a 6 foot tall alpaca.
Nope.
Like,
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
they so they'll
our,
yeah they I have a couple of them that they look me right in the eyes. So they're eye level, and then that puts the top of their head right about 6 foot.
that's fucking crazy. I mean,
I've seen llamas that tall.
yeah, I've definitely seen some big ass llamas,
Yeah.
but
Oh yeah, llamas are
my
massive.
my two alpacas here, I mean, they're probably like maybe 5 feet at the head.
Yeah, they're not taller than me. I'm
Maybe, you know?
5'8".
Yeah, they're
Yeah, so that was one of the funny things you can go back and look at in like when you go back and look at alpacas, like in the short history they are here in the US, is you can see the different trends for what people liked. And so for a
right.
while, your average alpaca is going to stand about 32 to 36 inches at the withers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Top of the shoulders for those of you who may be new to the animal world and just trying to learn something. That's where the shoulders usually meet the spine. Um, but then for a while, people started wanting really big alpacas. So they started breeding for taller and taller alpacas. So then you can get, alpacas that are, 40, 42 inches at the shoulders there, and then you've got that long ass neck and them big old, ears and oh yeah. And so for,
That's wild.
our biggest alpacas are a little older. I think our youngest one is 9 or 10, and the old still she all right she is she's the matriarch. She's 19, but I mean she still gets after you. So the one who when I split my head there on that 2x4, I still had to give her the shot because, well, welcome to ranching 101. You don't get
Yeah.
to not give them the medication just because you got a little fucked up.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you
Yeah.
get your ass back up and try again.
Yep. And so that's what I did. And so no, I finally got her, and she's screaming and hollering. Um, and I end up I'm trying to do the shot, and Charm is the name of the matriarch. Yeah, no, she came up, hit me right in the back. And it was mean too. She jumps up and they'll bend their elbows. So like their toes are painted or faced back towards them, and they just stab you in the back with their elbows. They'll just come up and they just
Yeah.
they give you pretty much the
Ouch.
people's elbow right in the back.
Mm.
Eh.
Yeah, that don't sound fun.
No. And on top of that, they, unlike camels who do not spit 100 feet, that's hilarious. That would be horrible. That would literally, I would be covered every day if camelids had that ability. Alpacas can get a pretty decent distance, but they got to be pretty pissed off for it. But their spit is projectile.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the other. When she comes at you, she'll be already spitting from 4 or 5 feet away by the time before she hits you.
Damn.
They got that aim, man.
They do.
Mean bitch.
They have some pretty good projectile. And like if they get real pissed and they bring it up from their gut instead of just what they're chewing on, oh, it's nasty.
Oh yeah. Been there before.
Uh-huh.
That's some sick shit, man. I hate getting spit on. It just ruins my day.
Dude,
Right in the face
Well,
too.
that's the only advantage to the tall alpacas, because we have some little ones and they'll get pissed at me. They'll look up and they'll spit and it'll go right up my nose. I gotta go my
yeah.
nose so I'm not smelling alpaca vomit all day.
Ew. That's fucking gross.
It's
but I
nasty.
totally
And then
get
like
it.
you're blowing out chunks of hay and chewed on grass.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, been there. Don't want to go
Yeah,
back, but I'm
10 out
sure I
of 10
will.
do not
shortly.
recommend.
Absolutely fucking
And it
not.
sticks in there. I don't care how hard you blow. It sticks.
It does.
There.
You got to get up in there with your finger, man.
I
Get
keep,
that shit out.
I keep Q-tips in the truck so I can just, go up
Hell
there and
yeah.
COVID test myself to get that shit out.
Yeah, all the way to the brain.
Yup.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do. That's some sick shit, man. Yeah, them motherfuckers. Ugh. I mean, it stinks. You need a whole bunch of shampoo.
Uh-huh.
Like it's rancid.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely rancid.
Yeah.
But hey, man, we're gonna get out of here ourselves. We're gonna let you go. You said you got a 45-minute one-way trip drive anyway.
I do.
So we just are going over an hour here, which normally, we don't care, but just kind of episode time. So we would love to have you back, man. This is incredibly interesting.
We spent the whole time talking about me and alpacas. I had a list of animal related topics to talk about. We didn't hit a single one of them. They were all non-alpaca related.
Well, here you go. Pick one. Let's get one out of the way. What do you got?
Let's get one
Pick
out of
something
the way.
interesting.
have you guys heard of, it's on the East Coast and I should have, oh wait, hold on. I do have it. It's the Myrtle Beach Safari. So one of the podcasts a few weeks back, you talked about the breeding of white tigers. Myrtle Beach Safari breeds white ligers. I want to know what your guys' opinion is on that. So for those of you who don't know, the liger is the cross between a lion and a tiger, and they are breeding for white ligers. So already a hybrid genetic disaster. They're adding to it, in my opinion. What do you guys think?
That's two genetic disasters going head to head right there, in my opinion.
I would say
Like that's two things that should not exist in this world, and you're trying to make it. Okay.
Well, Myrtle Beach Safari, that's owned by Doc Antle.
Is it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Doc's place down there, and he's outside of all the Tiger King bullshit.
Or maybe that was in my notes for something either. Let's see.
He was the liger guy from Tiger King.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I know he got into trouble, but what made me look it up was I saw an article, and I mean they're still out from everything I've seen on their website. You can still go book tours, and they're still doing it.
Oh, I'm absolutely sure. And outside of that, it's something that I'm not for. I do think we are putting genetical disasters, in place doing this shit. And it's people are fucking attacking us. And I don't think it's the most wrong thing to go after. Now, what we should do is get a tiger guy on here outside of Joe, somebody that's not locked up we can spend a little more time with and really dive in, why tiger people still want white tigers. There's got to be something to it. It's just
tiger thing.
It's strange, and it's been sought after time and time again that they're problematic, and it's just not something I can get behind.
And ligers are super problematic. They don't live very long.
I can't believe
as far as I know. And they're so rare to begin with because you can't breed them.
Yeah, they're sterile.
Right? Like I don't think
they come out sterile.
Yeah, they're like a mule.
Yeah.
So it's like So we're just doing it just to do it now. It's kind of weird to me.
I don't know, man. The world is that's really all I got out to say on it, man. It's just we need to fucking do better. That was short. What else you got? What's on your list?
What else is on the list? Let's see here. I had did you guys, so again, a little bit older of a story, but it got talked about on a podcast I listened to, so I'm bringing it up. In 2017, they started finding this out, but there is a pair of killer whales off the coast of South Africa they're strategically hunting and killing great white sharks. And they did it so effectively that they made a documentary about it, and it's still going on.
Yeah, they're badass.
They are badass, man.
The pair of orcas, it's a pair of brothers they named them Port and Starboard, and they were hunting. They still do. They hunt great white sharks and extract the shark livers and eat them.
That's awesome.
That's fucking
I have
nuts,
heard that,
man.
But those names are awesome.
Yeah, just like I brought that one up just because it's just the sheer like
it's fucking cool.
Yeah, exactly. Like an apex predator is being hunted down just so somebody else can enjoy its liver. It's just ridiculous to me.
Just the liver.
Just the liver.
I wonder if they're getting high off it or something.
It's just the killer whale, man. It's in the name.
I don't know. Dolphins suck on pufferfish to get fucked up.
Dolphins also grape things.
Yeah. Killer whales might too.
Maybe. I don't know. I had a woman at the pumpkin farm this weekend. She asked me if the camel was smart. And I said, yeah, it's like one of the smartest things on earth, man. And she was like, really? Like against dolphins? And I was like, well, on earth, like on the land, I'm not talking. But then I looked at her, I was like, dolphins they're intense and they're literally insane.
Yeah.
I don't even want to put them in the same category because they understand incredibly vindictive shit that I don't want to talk about.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And because I mean, if you think about it, right, killer whales are a species of dolphin. Like they are high class. again, this is just me being an animal lover. I classify them as hyper intelligent animals. I mean, the things
Sure.
they understand and the abilities they're able to do. I mean, like orcas hunt with tactics and techniques.
Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah.
they use different techniques based on how the seal's sitting on different pieces of ice. Like, that is
To break the ice.
absolutely mind-boggling.
No, there's some smart critters, man, and they are not a force to be reckoned with,
And they normally don't fuck with people too much either.
which is fucking absurd.
Crazy.
No, there's
Yeah,
actually,
because
I read this one recently too, that there has actually been 0 instances of recorded wild orca attacks on humans. All orca human fatalities have been in captivity, which I do. While I understand and support, animals being in captivity most of the time, orcas are not one of those animals that I should think should ever be contained.
yeah, we all feel the same about that.
Yeah.
That's for sure. I don't know if you ever had listened to my tangent on SeaWorld, one of the older episodes. I'll have to find it and send it to you. Them cocksuckers.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard your tangent on that one because you turned down the job with camels at SeaWorld.
Yeah, there's some bitches, that's for sure.
They are, but
yeah, man,
what I learned that day is I had. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say the aquatic world is just fucking intense.
Different.
Different. And I'm sure it's the same of like in the normal zoo world, like the keepers and stuff really do love these animals, but yeah, at the end of the day, some of them aquatic animals, they don't belong in a giant pool. They just they don't. And I know it sounds stupid of me saying it. Sorry, my Wi-Fi just might suck.
No, you can't replicate.
Especially for something that we don't even know
you're
what
good.
the fuck exists in the water, Like, we don't even know what's in the goddamn ocean, and we're trying to make the whales happy.
We just found giant squid out a couple years ago. Like,
Exactly.
Not a couple,
There's
yeah.
Damn, like, the bad timing on the phone calls kicking in.
Yeah.
You still there, my man? Hello.
I'm here.
Lost him again.
Oh, wait, there you
he
are.
is.
All right, my Wi-Fi is chiming in and out because I really need to run a damn
Ethernet.
an Ethernet cable down here, man. I really do need to. But hey, man, save them next questions. We'll get you back in the next couple of weeks if that's cool with you.
Yeah.
We're gonna go hook up some trailers. We got a job we're getting ready to go do and whatnot. So we're gonna get out of here. I really appreciate you coming on. It's not every day, we get guests on, so it's always exciting to do it.
I appreciate you guys having me. It was a awesome opportunity, and I'm sure, as you could tell, I will nerd out about alpacas anytime you want. Just let me know.
Absolutely, man. Well, do you want to send them off with a happy hump day?
Happy hump day, everybody.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Fluffy?
Happy hump day, everybody.